There is no question that a lot of Americans are feeling pretty tense in their daily lives this summer, from the pandemic to household budgets, racial unrest, and yes, the upcoming presidential election.
NBC5's Tom Garris talks tonight with an expert in nonviolent communications about how we can work through the stress during a pretty tough time.
Define nonviolent communication for us.
It is a way of communicating that is based on universal needs. It's about empathy and speaking honestly about yourself from the heart. I do 90 minutes a week for 8 weeks. We do the whole kind of thing with a grounding and a check-in, and we'll, explore how to use it so it becomes natural and habitual.
What do you want them to kind of keep in mind when they wrap up this course?
So what I want them to walk away with is that they give themselves time, space, slow down, really listen to the people who they care for and give them empathy, and then are able to talk about what's going on for them personally, without judgments, without criticism, and without blame.
Some of the demonstrations, whether they be in Portland, Seattle, some of them turn violent. Here in Vermont, we haven't seen that, although there have been some where people have gotten pretty aggressive verbally. What way, if somebody is facing that situation, can they talk to someone and kind of make themselves heard?
Well, this is where I think demonstrations are very tricky, because it's really hard in that kind of a space to actually sit down and hear one another. What happens is people get triggered and out comes some judgment, some blame. It's not useful. It's not helpful, because the other person is not hearing you and you're not getting your point across.
Some people that are fighting against racial injustice, would say that we've tried to have that civil discourse, but at a certain point, we are fed up. How do you balance all that?
First of all, they have to kind of clear themselves of all of that anger and all of that pain. Once they can do that, they can be less emotional and more reasonable.
You bring up listening. Is that something that people really need to do more of?
Oh yeah, it's, listening without making a comment, listening without getting in there and trying to give advice. Just little things like that will really help a discussion in a group when you're discussing something that might be a bit touchy.
That was Tom Garris reporting. Mark Ruff says she's 5 tips for you to use at home. First, be aware and notice what you're watching on social media. There can be all sorts of disinformation and provocative posts that trigger you, make you angry.
Second, figure out how to take yourself down from that angry state. Breathing is a great way to do that.
That is true. Third, don't immediately reply to a provocative post or email or anything online that makes you angry. You're likely to blurt out something you may later regret.
Fourth is about judgments. Instead of judging, become curious. Find out why someone believes something or thinks some way.
Finally, be careful with the stories you tell yourself. Mark Ruff says, we come up with our own stories in our head about what happened in a situation or a conversation without fact-checking our memory to see if, it's really true.
Mark Ruff is currently holding an online workshop for the next several weeks. It is not free. More information is on her website, Mark Ruff Communications.